Hi, welcome. So up until now we spoke about HTML and CSS, and we've done a bunch of other things that are leading us to building our own website for a product using a quick and easy tool. Now there are a lot of tools out there. There's Wix and some of the other ones that we will look at eventually, but I want to start with WordPress. WordPress has been around a really long time and is a very robust system. In general, there's two versions of WordPress. There's WordPress.com, which is a paid service that allows you to build your site, develop it, and will host it for you. There's a free option. When you use the free option, it includes some of their ads and some of their junk. And then there's WordPress.org, which is totally free and you can just download WordPress itself. But when you download it, you're responsible for keeping it. Now, most hosting services, if you just look at hosting services in general, there's a bunch of hosting services out there, which is, I will explain what all these words mean in a moment, and they recommend a few that you can go through. But in short, basically the way it works is you've got the website is just you're getting a file off of somebody else's computer. So in this case, the tool that we're using is going to be something a little bit more complicated or more complex than just the simple HTML file that we've been writing until now. So instead, what you're going to get is you're going to get a whole system that lets you quickly edit stuff and update stuff and write like a blog sort of thing, or a bunch of other features, and we'll publish to Twitter and Facebook and social media and let you manage all of that in one location. And that's what WordPress is. WordPress is like a full suite of tools that lets you work on stuff and build sites out and do some pretty complex stuff. And this video and following classes and lectures are going to go through in a lot more depth of how to use WordPress properly. And like what the features are. But the first thing to understand is there's the version of WordPress that is just the software that you get, which is what WordPress.org is, and then you have to find a place to put the software so that other people can access it. That's what a host is. Or there's WordPress.com, which will manage the hosting for you and let you build out the features and everything else. The demonstrations I'm going to do, just to make things simple for us, I'm going to be using WordPress.com in the demonstrations. You can create a free account, you can even create a free site, and that's what I'm going to be doing for most of our demonstrations. So go ahead and click the little get started button. You'll be able to continue with your email or one of the other things. You'll create an account, and once your account is created, you'll log into a page that looks like this. So this page is the basic, sorry, one second. Hopefully that'll make things a little bit clearer. But so WordPress.com, WordPress.org, this is WordPress.com, and once you log in, you get this little dashboard. We're going to create a new website. So the first thing is we choose a domain. We're going to ignore that. That's if you want to set up like it goes to like muttle.com or whatever, your mywebsite.com or .org or .me, then you purchase a domain and we deal with that. We'll talk about domains and stuff later on. For now, we'll just say choose domain later. There's a bunch of plans here. You can do monthly, or you could do annually. We're gonna ignore all that. We're gonna start with a basic free website. So once I do that, it creates it. We can select what the goals are. We're gonna ignore all those for now. And now's the first real choice we have. We get to pick a theme. So either we can design our own theme, which we might do later, but for now we're just going to pick a basic theme. I'll start with foam. Make sure you grab one that's free, not one that's premium. Premium is included as part of a premium plan, but if you don't have that plan, they charge you for it. So I'm going to start with foam, which is just a fairly basic little website. So it lets us choose a free font, or there's a bunch of premium fonts. If we want to preview that, we're going to stick with whatever the free options are for now. It also shows what it would look like on a computer, on a tablet, and on a phone. And this is stuff that if you're not doing with this, you have to deal with no matter what you're doing. When you're creating content for the web, always keep in mind that the web is delivered to people's devices, and different devices have different screens, and you got to make sure that it actually works on all the different screen sizes. But for now, I'm just going to click continue. And WordPress is going to just get things set up, turn the lights on, and just like that, I've got my basic WordPress. So it's set up my site, select the design, choose a plan. We did all that. Now we can write our first post. We can edit site design. So let's just go in the order that they recommend it. So we'll do write our first post. And I'm just going to write my basic post. This is a post. Now, an important thing to understand is, why is this a post? Because WordPress was, for a long time, it started off as a blogging system. So because it started off as a blogging system, the basics of it will refer to things as posts. Aside from posts, it'll have pages, and we'll go into that in more depth in a minute. But for now, this is a post. Here is some text. And we're going to spend a while going through the details of WordPress and a lot of the stuff, and there's a lot of things out there. Now, the way WordPress works, and this is where the conversation about the way that Google Docs works and the other thing and the HTML stuff all comes back, is it does things in terms of blocks. So the most basic post is going to have a title block and then just like a text block. Now I can format this text block however I want, right? I can use AI Assist. I'm not going to even bother with that right now. We can highlight it with a random color, right? That'll change the font and things like that, and that's the text. And if I want to change the background, I can highlight the background to, let's say, blue, so it looks terrible, and we can just go Control Z and that'll undo that. But if we look over here, which unfortunately my head is blocking, and we'll have to deal with that next time, but you can tag it, you can add it to categorize, you can set up an excerpt, which will be what people see as a preview for this. We can do a lot of stuff with this, and it even has its own URL. Templates, and we'll talk about templates, but the block, excuse me. A block is just a piece of text, and if you click on the edit over here, you can go to the block and you can change the size of the block. We can give this particular block a name. We can make this particular block something that HTML anchor, meaning that's something that people can link to. And there's a lot of powerful things, and this is just an overview. But we've got the block editor and we've got the post editor. Once we're done with that, I'm going to click publish. I'm just going to click publish so that it's available immediately. Give it a second and it'll be published. Alright, I can click view post. And now, if you visit this website, like, this is what you'll see. We're going to clean this up a little bit. We'll go to next steps, right? Let's continue. We can edit our site design. We can also customize this. Let's customize the site URL. So I'm not going to do anything too crazy. I'm just going to, right, it says, oh, if you want to do, we can set up a plan, we can change the domain. I just don't like that this is what the base option is, but I think that right now we're just going to have to leave it as Shachna 7. So we'll go back to next steps and edit the site design. So what does the site design mean? The site design is the layout. You see how it says now there's template, cover, stack, group, buttons. But in general, there's the template. The way that this works is that there's the data and a template. So for example, I have a page, and then I have the way that the page is laid out. I have a home page, I have a general page, and my home page might have its own central template. Then I'll have like my posts. So I'll have like a page that lists all of my posts. And then I'll have for specific posts. We're going to go through this, like I said, and like I keep saying, in more depth. But the basic idea is the way that WordPress divides things is you have posts and you have pages. And you will decide what to do what with. Because it came with blogs, it started with posts, but then you divide pages, and you can also like divide what's on a page and what's on a post. And we can use templates, and templates allow us to very quickly design, oh, I might have a bunch of different pages, but I always want the general look to be like this. And then I might have a specific thing for, let's say my home is a specific template. So for now, we're just going to go home. Right, so I have a template and I have a block and I have my footer area that I can add stuff to if I wanted to. We're going to ignore all that for now. We're just going to go to WordPress and we're going to go back from design. So, launch my site. We went through all the steps, we did the basics. Congrats, your website is live. And this is the back end of my website. If I wanted to actually visit the website to see what it looked like, we can go over here and it'll show us what the website looks like. It says, you know, remove this banner with a paid plan, but this is, if you clicked on it, this is what you would see. You'd see a site title, you'd see about, and you'd see another about page. Because this template has 2 about pages, and we can clean up all that and talk about that in more depth. For now, though, if you look at my pages, right, I've got an about page, and I've got a home page, and if I want, I can add more pages. Most of the stuff that we do is we use this dashboard. This is the tool that we use to interact with our website. All the other stuff was the setup wizard that WordPress.com offered us, and for this one, we're going to more depth here. So, if we look at my home, you can very quickly see I can give my site a name, right? So this is where I want to change the name to a simple demo. Blog, a site to demo how to use WordPress. Right? We can create a site logo if we want. We can save our settings. We can do the privacy. We can make this hidden. I'm going to leave this as a public thing. I can change the footer credit. We can remove, right? We can change your site address, transfer the site, delete content, delete the site. This is all just in the settings. For now, the one thing we'll save my settings as they are, so this way my site actually has a basic name. The URL for this website is just shachna7.wordpress.com. So if you just opened a browser, and I'm going to open a private window, and I'm going to go to this website, this is what the website looks like. So if you visit it, this is what you will see. Sorry, if you visit it, this is what you'll see. Now, moving right along. So coming back here, I'm going to go through this and just some of the basic things to look out for over here, and then we'll talk more about this in the next video and in the next lecture, and we'll continue using WordPress. For this one, I would like you to create your own WordPress site, going through creating an account on WordPress.com and then just going through the setup following along to this video. So if we go home, we can customize the domain. Of course, they're going to charge us. Oh, yep. This is what they're going to charge us for, so we're going to ignore that for now. So there they charge, and they charge yearly, and this is just because they register the domain name. Aside from this, you can add a new page, we can direct traffic to our site, and we can go through all these other steps. This is just like the dashboard. This is where it introduces you to, hey, here's all the stuff you could possibly do. There's some stats, which is if you want to analyze the analytics related stuff to your thing. Analytics meaning the details of like who visited your website, where did they come from, and so on and so forth. You can look at upgrades, which are like, oh, you can do a plan, or you can do little add-ons and domains and things like that. This is, again, working on how to change things. Mailbox, we'll ignore that for now. Posts. So this is what I was talking about before, how by default they give you a hello world post, and this is a post that we created, right? And when I click on the post, it lets me edit it, and I can add more content to it. And if I want to see that post, I can just visit the post over here. It's on my website, and you can see this and change things and reblog and so on and so forth. If we go back, we have media. And if I wanted to add images to a post, first you have to upload the image to the website, and then you'd be able to add it. I've got my pages, and this is where I was talking about before. We can have multiple pages, and the distinction between pages and posts might seem a little bit confusing right now, but I promise you'll get the hang of it, and I'll explain it in a lot more depth as we go along. Comments, because this is a blogging platform and users can leave comments, we can see that. Feedback, which is if we create a form, we can get responses here. Jetpack, this is like a underlying tool we'll have to set up, and this is like your basically your overall access to all of the WordPress.com features. WooCommerce we're going to ignore. That's if you wanted to make this into a shop. You'd use WooCommerce and then appearance. At any time, and this is kind of an important thing, and I'm going to leave it with this. At any time, if you like, you can change the theme of the website. You can change it to, we're going to do free themes, and we can scroll down over here, and these are all free. And anytime if I want, I can just change this to a different theme. And the moment I change this theme, none of what I wrote will change, right? My pages will still be there, my posts will still be there, but how they're presented to the user will change drastically. And this is where we talk about like the way we spoke about like HTML and CSS, and how HTML is just a setup for CSS, which is the language. It's just a way of identifying text, right? And CSS is how we color it, but neither of those is the text themselves. And so what WordPress does is it takes it a step further and says, hey, even with your HTML, we're still going to like keep your content in one place, or we're going to keep the way to present your content in a different place. So if I wanted to, I can change, let's just, for fun, we can pick one of these. So these are all going to be cost, but the basic one is free. So I'm going to activate this template. And now I have a new theme. So if I go back to my dashboard, that's one thing. But if we just go to the website itself, right? If I go over here, all right, you can see hello world, and this is a post, and both of my posts are already here. And there's a bunch of other stuff over here, a simple demo, and whatever else it is, and we will edit this stuff over the next few classes, going through the details of how to use a WordPress site and how to build things up. But for now, create your own WordPress site. If you want to visit this one, it's shachna7.wordpress.com, and that you'll be able to see what it looks like as a user. As someone who visits the site, and create your own at WordPress.com. Have fun with it, play around, poke around, go through the same process that we went through, and we'll continue doing this. And I think a large part of the rest of the course is going to be working with WordPress and like building up our own website, and then we may spend a little bit of time talking about Wix and other tools to use. On that note, have a good week.